Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is DC and I'm a 39-year-old mom living in New York City with my 4-year-old, my husband, and our rescue dog. We have been living in New York City now for 2 years. To give you some context about who I am, I actually immigrated here from Beijing when I was 5 and I was raised here, a true New Yorker. I really love the city with all my heart and my dream has always been to raise my own kids here. We have a child who is school going. He started 3K here and now he's in pre-K. And I'm a working mom, so I wanted to share what it's like to juggle a career, motherhood, being a wife, and just day-to-day life living in the city. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons and my honest opinions. I'm also going to take you along and share what a weekday looks like as a mom here in New York City. So follow along and we're going to get into the magical stuff first. One of the most magical moments of being a parent here was taking my son Henry on his first Central Park snowy day. Recently, we've had the most brutal winters I have personally ever experienced being a New Yorker. And back in December, we were expecting about 12 to 16 inches of snow. So my husband and I thought it would be a magical, amazing experience to take him to Central Park and to take him sledding. It was perfect timing because it was also during Christmas break. So I had off. I'm a New York City public school teacher and he is on the same schedule. So it worked out really well. We bundled up, we took a sled and we went to the city. And you walk into Central Park and everything is covered in snow. There's people everywhere. There's just excitement in the air because New Yorkers really have this knack for living life to the fullest. The snow is falling and it's not like the nasty gray slush that the snow eventually turns into. It was just this beautiful powdery white snow that's falling from the sky. We made our way to one of the more popular spots for sledding and my son had an absolute time of his life. And we brought my mom and my sister actually came along as well. So it was just really a beautiful family day. And like I said before, I have lived in New York City since I was 5 years old. This experience was something I have never had before. So it was definitely a bucket list moment for me. Another magical moment that I experienced as a mom in New York City was my son's birthday. He just turned 4 back in November and I wanted to make this birthday as special as possible. He's at an age where he's so observant and learning so much, and he actually asks for things to do. So I had this plan of putting up balloons like I do every year and surprising him with gifts on the table when he wakes up in the morning. And the plan after was to take him to Wollman Rink for his first ice skating experience. The whole day was a surprise. He had no idea what was happening. So when we got there and to see his face light up, it was priceless. When I'm there, there's also this moment where I realize that people travel thousands of miles to be there. And this is just a 20-minute subway ride away. So in that moment, I feel extremely grateful to be able to provide this experience for our son and to also experience it myself. Luckily, I know how to ice skate. I was a little rusty, but I did not fall. My sister, my husband, and I, we took turns taking him around in the ice rink. And as you can imagine, he had the time of his life. He actually was a little bit scared. He claimed he had fun, but he was looking a little scared to me. I would like to think that this is a core memory for him when he looks back when he's older. So, beyond the magical moments that make New York City just a wonderful place to raise a child, there's also the challenges. And I'm going to be really honest here in this part because I feel like not a lot of people talk about this and are not honest. You really see the romanticized version on Instagram, but I'm here to tell you that there's definitely another side to things as well. So, number one is the cost. Having a kid is expensive already, but when you add the cost of living here in New York City, your cost really multiplies. For example, childcare costs. There's recently been so many articles about how childcare costs in the United States is unbelievably expensive and it doesn't match the wages that the parents are earning. And that is a complete and utter fact. Childcare costs are insanely expensive. And luckily in New York City, we have 3K programs and pre-K 4 programs that are covered by the state. Most New York City parents, including myself, are able to take advantage of these programs that are subsidized by the government. Now, before 3K, that was a different story. I know friends that have easily paid $5,000 to $6,000 a month for a private nanny or even $3,500 for a Montessori daycare. And these numbers add up and can be really astronomical. There's also cost for food, dining out, ordering in. Everything is extremely pricey. Now, what if you want a date night? There are babysitting costs, and every babysitter has their own rate. It can really range from 25 to up to even $50 an hour. So, with all this being said, the cost factor is something to really consider if you're thinking about raising kids in New York City. And something else I want to add to the cost is your rent. It's 2026, and currently New York City rental prices are at its highest. So, most families, if you're lucky enough, you're renting a two-bedroom, but I know plenty of families that still live in a one-bedroom with one or two kids. So I know a lot of families living in New York City, having more children is directly correlated to their ability to afford housing, which brings me to my next point. Let's be for real. New York is notorious for its shoebox apartments and small spaces. If you commit to raising a child in the city, you're also committing to living in a smaller space and making compromises and sacrificing comfort. So, what that feels like day to day in my home is chaotic. I feel like most of the time we are on top of each other. The living room is a communal space for my husband to work, for me to do my own thing and relax, for our dog to also relax, and for my son to play. And the truth is that it hasn't been easy. I feel like the way that our apartment is laid out, the bedrooms are pretty small. In my personal opinion, the kitchen island takes up way too much room. And because of this particular layout, the actual living space is really small and it makes it very tricky to set up furniture. Now, I am being honest here when I say that sometimes I feel really overstimulated. When the TV is on, I'm also trying to watch a show on my iPad, and overall, it just feels like we are on top of each other. And in those moments, I really understand why some of my friends are like, oh, I need a house with a backyard and a kids' room so that the kids can just go off and play and use up all the space that they want and they can just entertain themselves. And I totally get that. But for us, we definitely have given up so much space for the activities that exist outside of our apartment, including going to the museum, the park, ferry rides, spending as much time outdoors as possible when the weather is nice. And we have all the amenities that allow us to do that when the weather permits. Basically, space is definitely a issue that New York City parents face. The next point I'm going to talk about is how it takes a village to raise a child. And it is absolutely true. But unfortunately, in our modern day and age, that doesn't really exist as much as it used to. Having a community is so important. And oftentimes, if you're living in New York City, your parents or your grandparents or extended family might not live on the same street or in the building across. So if you don't have family nearby, I imagine that it's extremely difficult. In our personal situation, I have my mom and my sister who live about a 20-minute drive. And luckily, they are close enough to come on the weekends or to meet up on the holidays just to see each other on a random weekday. So, luckily, we do have that support. And I can only imagine how hard it is to not have that family around. So, the community and the village aspect of raising a child is very much real. And I know it's very much an issue that parents do deal with. And that is just the honest truth. So, besides those two magical moments where I was like, this is amazing raising a child in New York City, there's also other moments where I have been like, we're staying here forever. Henry is not even 4.5 years old. He's exposed to so many different languages, different cultures, different places in New York City that other people do dream of visiting. And we've taken him on ferry rides, and he's been able to see the Brooklyn Bridge from underneath. He's gone to various museums, and we were also going to Central Park pretty regularly after school. My husband would pick him up, take the stroller, hop on the subway, and meet me in Central Park. And from the hours of 3:30 to 7:30, we are at Central Park, which not many people can say that they do. Overall, my husband and I, every time we talk about raising Henry in New York City, we always go back to these moments and these experiences that he is exposed to that we hope will make him a well-rounded person and feed his curiosity so that his values and experiences will stay with him when he's an adult.
That's awesome.
That might be him in 20 or so years.
Right? Aww.
He's really taking a
He
while.
is. Say beep beep. He's so shy. Wave bye. Say bye. Oh, look.
So now that you guys have seen what a day looks like during the week for my family, I want to talk about my honest answer to the question of, is it really worth it raising a child in New York City? I feel 50-50 because there are so many things to consider as a parent, and between the financial costs to the community. And the biggest thing is, do you have the time? Do you have the time freedom to actually enjoy New York City? If all these things are checked off, then having a New York City childhood is absolutely extraordinary. But if not, it's worth really questioning those things and having an honest conversation with yourself. So if you have any comments or want to share your personal experience of raising a child here, I would love to hear it. Please drop me a comment below. And I'll just end this video by saying that the weather is starting to get better here, and New York City, when the weather is nice, is a different animal. And after this winter, we're going to be out every single day as much as we can and really taking advantage of the city and all the activities. So I'm really excited to bring you guys along and share all the things that we do as a family here in New York. And if you reached this point in the video, thank you so much for being here. I hope it's provided some insight, and I'll see you in my next video.